right, everybody. We are so excited to be here live in Forbes. Forbes on 5th in New York City as we adjust reality in so many ways. I have the blessings to be with Dr. Fab Mancini, and he's walked the journey with me from my beginnings all the way through, and I will tell you, we're not at the peak yet. That is why I bring him in. Dr. Fab Mancini is, as you know, because you've listened to Adjusted Reality podcast, is one of my favorite guests, and he is here today to share a little bit more about what he's been up to, and it has been an amazing journey for him. So Dr. Fab, welcome to Adjusted Reality on Forbes on 5th.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Sherry. I so proud of you, first of all, and so honored to be here, and also so honored to be walking with you on this amazing journey over the last few years, which is just the beginning, in my opinion.
It is, and it's friends like you that make the journey beautiful. And I recognize the energy and the talent that you brought forth. You continue to inspire millions of people around the globe. And it's so important that you keep your message strong. But one of the things that I watch over the years is that you take self-agency. You take the moment to reflect on your life. And though you have written many books, you're on the latest one, and you're running here, there, and everywhere, but yet you still made time for your friends and the mission that you want to accomplish. Tell me more about that.
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned that because this is my 60th city in 4 weeks. And people often ask me, what motivates you? What inspires you? Why you retired twice and you're working harder today than ever? And I learned many years ago that my value in life does not depend on what I've accomplished, doesn't depend on what assets I might have accumulated over life. It only depends on the contributions that I'm making at this moment in life for the betterment of others. And that's how I judge my life. So every single day, especially today when we're seeing that people are struggling more today than ever with their health, I feel that my value has to be at the highest level that it's ever been. And that's the reason that I keep doing what I'm doing, is because all it takes is to change and to inspire and to hopefully help someone transform, one person, to make all the difference in the world. And now when we have billions of people that are really struggling, that are not living their potential in life, that some of them wishing that they could die because they're living in so much pain and misery. That's really what I believe our work is all about. It's about bringing hope back to people and bringing an awareness to recognize that, you know what, maybe everything that we've been taught up to this point is not the complete story. Maybe there's more out there. So why don't we just go and open our minds and open our hearts and start searching and see, is there anything else out there that can actually help me be a little bit healthier today than I was yesterday?
The journey is long, and a lot of people need a hand up. But I also think that as you walk with someone, you say yes to many things, and you always say yes. I don't think you've ever said no to me. Now, I'm not going to hold that against you, because the next one I'm going to ask you, you're like, no. We'll have a good time with that. But the supercharge your whole being for optimal living and longevity is really the premise of Adjusted Reality. And with that being said, what are you seeing in the hopes of what we have as structure and function, and then we have longevity and trying to build out that health span that you want people to go from nowhere to a place now where we call now here?
You know, it's interesting because I've been lecturing a lot in events that are longevity driven, health span driven. I just did the biggest health span event in the country last weekend. And what I can tell you is, as a doctor of chiropractic, I think I was very well versed in managing the structure of the body, the spine especially, where the spine is pretty much the center of the function. And that nervous system that many of us unfortunately don't understand. I know some people think it's just the brain, some people think it's the spinal cord, other people think it's the nerve root and all the nerves that are going through every cell in the body. But it's more than that. It's an operating system that is designed to keep us balanced. But that structure cannot be functioning to its full potential unless we do something, unless we take responsibility for our lifestyle choices. And I think that's a message that I'm seeing more people begin to recognize, is that perhaps the way that I think and what I seem to be doing every day could be the main reason of why I'm so sick today. And if people begin to think like that, now you begin to say to yourself, okay, if this thinking got me here of where I'm miserable, where I'm sick, where I'm tired, when I can't function, when I don't enjoy my work, where I can't have a proper relationship with my spouse, then all of a sudden I say to myself, okay, so what new level of thinking can actually change that? And what I've learned is that for us to be able to change behavior, we must change thinking first. Because unless you change your thinking, you will fall into the same patterns that you've always had. That's called a habit. And the only thing that breaks a habit is actually a new thought paired with a new behavior that leads to a transformation or a change that can then be sustainable if we do it consistently for at least 21 to 30 days. That's really the formula. No matter what it is you want to change in your life, you need to upgrade your thinking. That will lead to a new behavior, sustain that behavior for at least 21 to 30 days, and now all of a sudden you have a new habit that will allow you to have a different outcome.
So beautifully said, and you use the word responsibility because I think that really sums it up. The ability to respond. What are you doing today that will make your tomorrow a better place? It's the future, and it's optimal living and longevity in the Adjusted Reality title, and it's exactly what you were saying. And then looking now to having a reflection on the 21 days or building the habits that will make you a healthier person. I go back to thinking about whole being as looking at your whole life. This is not about finding a doctor who can give you a pill for a symptom that you're ailing with. This is about trying to figure out where you are in today's world. And the last question that I have for you today before we actually launch this fantastic, and you're the MC, Dr. Fab, so I cannot be more thankful, more appreciative. But as you've gone on this journey and you've touched so many people's lives, there's one thing about looking ahead, and I know that hope is a big part of healing. Hope, and because of people that don't have hope, they have an inability to cope in many cases. Like you started today's conversation, is they're thinking about dying. Thinking about living is a whole different way of doing that. So how do you think, in terms of vitality and longevity, aside from those 21 days of starting to think about what they need to do, what would be that first moment of reflection that you would want them to start Adjusted Reality with?
Well, I think that most of us are a product of the programming that we were raised with, whether it's grandparents, parents, brothers, sisters, uncles, aunts, friends. And one of the things that has helped me personally is to recognize that every single day I can start with a blank canvas. So I would say start there. If you had the ability to change your life, to change your health in any way that you wanted to, how would you draw it? How would you create it? And begin that way, with no perceived ideas of the past, with no limitations or belief systems that this is what I was taught, so this has got to be it. I still remember when Bruce Lipton told me many years ago, we were talking about genetics, and epigenetics came into the picture, and it was showing how the environment around the cell was far more important than the genes within the cell. And he said to me, most people think that their diseases are genetic in nature, and less than 10% actually are. It's 90% plus epigenetic. So I would say, if you were to create your ideal day, because sometimes I think people get a little ahead of themselves and they want to change everything overnight, and they want everything to be gone, but it took you years to get to this point. So what I ask myself many times is like, what is the one thing that I can do today? Even if I just make one decision today that would allow me today to be healthier than yesterday, what would that be? Could it be in the way that I can maybe be a little bit more positive, more constructive, more optimistic, more hopeful? Could it be that I'm going to surround myself today with people that I like, that love me for who I am and not what my title is or what I have? Could it be that maybe I got to pay a better attention to the nutrition I'm putting inside this one body of mine that is the only body that I will ever get, and maybe do less processed foods and maybe more organic foods? Could it be that I'm going to take time to actually sleep a little bit longer than I've been sleeping instead of staying up and watching the news or looking at your social media and not sleeping enough, which is the majority of us? Or could it be that I'm just going to decide that I'm going to reduce my alcohol intake because I want to purify my body with more water? But whatever that is for you, make one choice today that is better than yesterday, and that will begin to move you towards what I call optimum health. And it's a journey. So don't worry so much about the destination yet, just enjoy the journey. And what I've learned over the years is that when I do that process, the more good decisions that I make in my life, the more that I want to make good decisions in the future. And that is what propels change, because good decisions lead to more good decisions, just as bad decisions lead to more bad decisions.
Fantastic. Well, you heard it here today. Adjusted Reality is now in Walmart, Target, Barnes & Noble's, Indigo. I have great friends that are telling me that the book is moving around the world, 21 different countries right now that we have been listed in. And I just want to remind everyone that this book is not just for you, but the people that you love. If you get this book in your hands, I think you're going to start adjusting not only your own reality, but the friends and family that you love and your community. So join us. We're going to be launching tonight. It's a very exciting October 14th. Thank you for being with us, and thank you for being part of Adjusted Reality.